Hi everybody, it's Toni Pettit and I'm here with Out and About with Toni and Diane.
This episode of Out and About with Toni and Diane is sponsored by Good Morning, Good Day Cafe, 417 East Main Street in Streator, Illinois.
Where have you been?
Don't be mad.
Wait, don't we go through this every single time?
Well, we do.
You're supposed to be here. I already made the intro, and where are you?
I was in a fire truck.
And what were you doing in a fire truck? Not that that surprises
Well,
me.
I'd never been in a fire truck before, and you were late, like usual.
And took advantage of the
And
opportunity,
so I
didn't
took
you?
advantage to get in the fire truck. And Toni, I learned so much. There
Oh,
was so much that we
okay.
got to talk to. Don't be mad. It's really going to
all
be
right,
fun.
It's fine.
It's gonna be
Okay,
fun.
so
It's gonna
anyway,
be
as you
fun.
might know by now, we are at the Streator Fire Station with Diane, who was playing in the truck with a little kid because I was a little bit
Let
late.
me.
And with us is Lieutenant Brian Park, who is going to share with us information about the fire station. We're here to get an inside look at what happens behind the scenes. The general public, in general, only sees what happens when there's a fire, and they, And I have, luckily, and have been fortunate enough to have our Streator Fire Department respond to an issue that I had at one of my buildings, which was really frightening. But man, they were there within a heartbeat, and their service was incredible. So,
And I have to add, he's acting captain today.
Oh,
Right? Is that
well, that's the way it works.
so?
yeah.
Today you have to be acting captain
So-
because the real captain is off.
That's correct. Yeah.
All
yeah.
right.
So-
Now, will you be captain tomorrow?
No, I won't be.
Oh, because he'll be back and then
Because
he'll
he'll
be
be back.
captain.
I'll be back to my lieutenant's spot.
Now, is it always you that is the captain when he's gone?
Yes.
Is that because
When,
of
when you're
seniority?
lieutenant, yeah. When you're
Oh,
lieutenant,
okay.
you're the acting captain. So.
Okay.
how many captains do we have then? One?
So we have 3 captains.
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
Oh.
So one fire, our organizational structure, we have 1 fire chief. That's Mr. Gary Bird. We have 3 captains. Those are Ryan Reynolds, Fred McClellan, and Dave Kupek. Our 3 lieutenants are myself, Kurt Snow, and Ben Donahue. And then our firefighters are Tim Red. We have Eric Hoffmeyer, Billy Missile. We have Jeff Arundel. We have Ian Rogers, Ed Levy, and Phil Durden.
Wow.
And those are our firefighters. Right now we have 13 firefighters.
And a full crew is,
Full crew is 5. Right now we've got
I mean, a full set of fire people would be
full
what?
set of fire people would be 15.
15 then, okay, 5 for each
Right,
shift.
right now we
All
have 13. We've actually got a new firefighter starting tomorrow, which
That's
will
cool.
bring us up to 14. And we look forward to Connor McMiniman being a part of our team. So,
Oh, that's wonderful,
Yeah.
that's good for Streator. Yes,
Yeah.
that leaves you only 1 short then.
yeah, yep,
Alright.
that's correct. So.
How do you apply for a job like this?
So applying for a job at the fire department or police department is a little different than normal. So you essentially you get on a list. So we have testing where we do a physical test. We do a mental test, sort of like an IQ test, and then we have interviews with the police and fire commission, and that's how they create a list. And they create a list from 1 to however many applicants we have, and then. When time comes to hire, then they start at the top with number 1, 2, 3, 4. So
You have
it's,
to be a high school graduate, probably?
yeah. So the requirements for us pretty simple. You got to be 21 years old and you have to be a high school graduate.
Wow.
So those are the only requirements we have.
And
So is
brave,
the fire-
and brave.
Yeah.
So-
And
So
brave.
is the fire department still hiring since we're now have 14 and we?
That I don't know.
Okay.
So we've been without that 15th guy for a couple of years. So I'm not sure what the city's plan is, but that's.
So
that's
do
what
other
we're-
guys fill in for that 15th person?
So without that 15th person, it causes overtime, yeah. And so
Okay.
that's, today I'm actually here on an overtime day, so I'm here filling in for somebody because.
Now, do you guys take turn with overtime days or
We do.
volunteer?
No, we take turns with overtime,
Okay.
so it's,
Alright.
it's always revolving list, so, yeah.
So one of the things that we talked about a little bit before we got here was in addition to the hierarchy and the chain of command,
Mhm.
there's also a visual chain of command when you're on a scene, right?
That's correct, yeah.
And I thought this was really interesting.
I
had
didn't
no
know it
idea,
either.
right?
I was shocked,
So,
yeah.
you can tell who's the boss,
Yeah,
right? By what means?
we can tell who's the boss based on your helmet color, so if you, every community does it a little different. For in Streator,
Oh, okay.
in Streator, the fire chief and the captains wear white helmets. If you see a white helmet on the scene, that means they're probably the ones in charge. If you see a red helmet, that's a lieutenant, and.
Oh, that's what I had on today. I had the lieutenant's helmet.
Lieutenant Diane today, so, not Lieutenant Diane,
Well, you have to have a
but-
lieutenant because we already have a
Yeah, you
captain.
had the captain, you were filling in. Volunteer, she's part of the volunteer fire department.
So then black helmets are firefighters, and that's how we tell ranks, so.
Now, are they all the fire, what do you call them, helmets?
Helmets, yeah.
Fire helmets, are they the same as the one that I had? I mean, they're all set up the same?
Yep,
Okay.
everybody's got their own little thing, like you said earlier, you asked if I had a light, I don't prefer lights.
Oh, but
I
some do
light.
have lights?
Some do have lights.
Oh,
On the
okay.
side, some have, different stuff that they put on their helmets for
Like
tools and
decorative
stuff.
lights, like running lights on a car?
No, usually like a little string
I
light.
was gonna say, gonna do
Sorry,
it in
missed
a
that
fire.
part.
Well, that's because you were late.
There you go. Usually like a little stream light on the side, so wherever you point your head, you got a little light.
Oh, okay, like a miner's cap.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
That's the best analogy.
It's not like they were blinked.
Well,
We try not to do too much bling, so, yeah.
well, do you share helmets?
No, we do not. So
Okay, so everybody has
their
their
own.
own, so they could
Yeah.
be personalizing
Well,
your
they
helmet.
could. They could.
They're very
It's
personal.
possible.
I bet they
It
don't
could
allow it.
happen.
I bet they don't allow
They
it.
probably
though.
don't,
Right.
but
It's
just
not
for
very
clarification purposes.
Everybody has
They're
their
not
own little
decorative
personality in their helmet, so,
Okay,
yeah.
well, that's what,
Yeah.
you know, prompted.
There you go.
But anyway.
No, that helmet thing is very, very cool.
And that helmet, it looks big.
And they're
Is
heavy.
the helmet big? It looks big.
They're big, they're big.
They're
If you look at a fire
They're big.
helmet, actually, if you look at the design of a fire helmet, it's basically meant as kind of an umbrella. So we're always in situations
Oh,
where
that
we've
does
got,
make sense.
where we've got a lot of rain coming down on us, either
Oh.
rain or
Or water.
water from spraying hoses, and so, the helmets are designed to gather the water and let it go right off the backside, so it doesn't go down our coat or anything like that, so.
So how
That's amazing.
heavy is a helmet, you think?
He didn't know. He asked.
Guessing.
I don't know, I would guess they're probably
A couple
5
pounds.
pounds,
Yeah.
3 to 5 pounds.
Walking around with a 5-pound weight on your
So,
head.
Well,
You have
not
strong
only that.
You
Well,
do neck exercises to
well,
make sure
not
you-
only that, but I found out that in the fire truck they have, what do you call those, oxygen tanks?
Those are air packs, yeah.
They're air packs,
yeah.
oxygen tanks, and I couldn't even hold it. Will had a hard time holding it.
Really?
They're
And they
pretty,
run around with them on their
they're
backs.
pretty heavy once you get used to.
As soon as you get out of the truck, that's on you.
Yeah, we have, we can go take a video of it. As soon as we get out of our seat, we have the air packs built into the seat, so we walk out of the seat and that's on our back, so, yeah.
That is just.
Just to make it quicker, so.
Well, the
anything-
chair, I told him the chair wasn't very uncomfortable, then I found out why, there's a big oxygen tank.
There's a big air pack in there, yes, absolutely.
They call them air packs, I call them
So
oxygen tanks.
you're 5 pounds on your head, 3 to 5 on your head.
Yeah,
How much on your back?
I don't know, they estimate about 50 pounds or so of gear, so after we get our, turnout gear on to protect us from the heat and smoke, and we get the air pack on the back, and then helmet and tool, usually about 50 to 60
Wow,
pounds.
that's a
so.
lot.
Now, you had your equipment set up out there in the order probably that you would put it
Yes.
on,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
And so it's just like the pants were kinda like down, so all you gotta do is, how long does
So,
it take you to get geared up?
Our goal is always out the door in less than a minute, so.
Less than a
Wow.
minute.
Yeah.
Ooh, boy.
Do you
So-
do practice runs
Yeah, we
on
do.
putting your pants on?
We do a lot of practice, so when you start, your first thing you're worried about is obviously getting out of the door quickly. That's why we're here, you know.
Right.
We're always ready to respond, and we gotta get to places quickly. They say fire doubles every minute in size.
Ooh,
So,
Wow, I didn't know
wow, I
that.
didn't know
the
that.
quicker you get there, the quicker you get water on fire, the easier it's gonna be for everybody, so,
Okay.
yeah. So we work on that when you're, usually when you're a new recruit, we'll work on, turnout time and that type of thing. And then when you go to academy, they really work on you with it, so.
So, do you remember the first time you had to pull your pants up, how long it took you to get completely dressed?
Takes a little while, yeah. I mean, it
Is
does,
it
it
like a
does.
10-minute process your first time?
No, it's not 10 minutes, but it does,
It would take,
but you definitely get much
I'd be there
better.
for a
Oh, and
minute.
they don't have to put mascara on or anything like that. They
No.
don't
But
have to
still,
We're not worried about that type of thing, but, yeah, you know what, it takes a little bit of time to get, to get used to it.
to do it in less than a
To
minute.
do it in less than a minute, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that would, like,
So,
have to be doing that repeatedly until
Right.
you.
So sometimes, back in the day when you weren't running to catch up with the truck, but the truck was getting ready to leave when you were hopping in the back. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, is that why people hung on the side and ran?
No, well, that might have been one reason.
You can tell we don't know anything about firefighters.
They don't let us do that anymore,
You have to
so
run after it?
we get all sorts of stuff on our gloves, and usually we're wiping our faces or something, so it generally happens, and we don't like that it happens, because that's stuff we don't want on our skin, but
Yeah, right.
we always come back here and make sure we clean really well, so, yeah.
Now,
And it doesn't matter whether it's winter, spring, summer, or fall, you don't have a summer uniform versus a winter
No.
uniform. So you're carrying that extra 60 pounds no matter what.
All the
You're
time.
wearing the same
Yeah.
clothes no matter what. So think about that when it's 100 degrees outside on a humid day
Right.
in Streator, Illinois.
It's,
I can't imagine. Like,
Right?
it's a lot, firefighters sweat a lot, so,
Yeah.
because of what we wear, so.
Sure.
So how do
In
you
the winter, it's really
clean
nice.
those
Being a
things?
woolly
What do you do?
mammoth in the summertime.
There
Yeah.
you go.
How,
There you go.
how do you clean your
So
all
we
that
have,
stuff?
we've actually got a kind of our own little laundromat here. We've got an extractor out here, a washing machine that spins our gear so fast it gets most of the carcinogens out of the gear and stuff. That's a big huge push in the fire service right now. Firefighters are well above average, have well above average chances of developing cancers.
Yeah.
Certain cancers, and they're attributing that to a lot of the carcinogens that were in a smoky environment. And that
Well,
type
and
of
think
thing,
about it.
so-
They talk about secondhand smoke from just
Right.
regular smokers,
Right,
and you're
But
walking
not
into.
not only
building.
that, you're in a building that's on fire, that's got paint, that has primer,
Right.
Sure,
that has
yeah.
personal products like hairspray. I mean,
Right.
Old buildings have asbestos.
cleaning
Yes.
Yeah.
cleaning supplies that are
So-
all melting.
so
and
it's always our goal when we get back, first thing first is we clean ourselves up, just to make sure that we get all that stuff off of our skin and everything else. And then every time we have a fire, we always wash our gear. Each firefighter has 2 sets of gear, so,
Oh, that was my next one. That was
so
one
we've
of
got a
those.
reserve set, so,
Okay.
so this morning, we had a small fire last night, so this morning I'll be throwing my set of gear into the extractor to clean it up, to get all the carcinogens out of it. And while I do that, I'll use my reserve set of gear. So we always make sure that we wipe things down with, just to make sure that everything is off of our face and our neck and that type of thing.
You know, like there was the chemical spill that was out in Ohio.
Mhm.
Now, do you have a place here like that you decontaminate if something
So
would happen?
We could, yeah. We have the ability to set up a decontamination line and that type
Right
of
here
thing,
in
so-
the fire
Yeah,
department?
we can do it anywhere. We can do it here, we can do it
Oh.
wherever we need to.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of that's deals with hazardous materials,
Sure.
and we have a hazardous materials response team that is essentially LaSalle County. So we'll have fires from Ottawa, LaSalle, Peru, Mendota. They'll all come here, and they're all part of the hazmat team.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah,
Okay.
It's a
Well,
family affair.
it's a lot of
It's
stuff.
There's a lot-
It is
we
a
do a lot
lot.
of stuff.
Beyond, it's more than what we think, which is, oh, they throw water on fire.
Right,
Right.
There's
exactly.
so much more.
so
You
yeah,
know?
we do hazardous material response. We do technical rescue response, which that's going to be like rope rescues if somebody falls down a hill, or
Oh.
we do river rescue if somebody's in a river. We're lucky to have the boats from the Rodriguez family.
We got the taco,
And,
I call it the taco truck.
We got the taco truck
taco
out there.
truck.
We do lots of
Rest
different
his soul.
things. And then last October we started EMS, and now we have our own EMS system and our own service.
And
so-
now we got the ambulance
Yeah,
now
Ambulance,
too.
yeah.
Additional
So, yeah.
responsibilities. And how's that working out?
It's been working out very well.
Have they delivered any babies yet?
We have not delivered any babies yet, so no stork pins yet. So
Darn it.
that's actually kind of a rare thing, but it does happen. So it's been working out very well. Obviously, our call volume has just exploded
Sure.
because of taking care of everyone's medical issues. But operationally, it's been good. It's had minimal, maybe no effect on the fire side, which is what we were after.
Now,
So-
are the firemen, are any of the firemen EMS, or what, EMSs or EMTs and paramedics
Yeah,
also?
Yeah, so we do have, so every day we have at least 2 paramedics and 2 EMT basics working. And those are provided by a company called AMR, and the city contracted with them to provide the manpower for the ambulances.
Oh, okay. Alright.
In addition to those 4 people, you've got at least 4 firefighters here, so there's a minimum of 8 people here every day. Now, those 4 firefighters, it kind of depends on who you have. We do have 2 paramedics as firefighters. We've got, I think there's 5 or 6 EMT basics as firefighters. We respond on major life event calls with the ambulance service, so it's actually, we feel like it's really enhanced the level of care, because we have, for an example, if someone goes down having a heart attack, we've got 6 people showing up on the scene at the same time, and so that helps.
And we
out
all
a
know
lot.
how important CPR is,
There you
don't
go.
we?
We all know how important CPR is, and so we've got 6 people showing up at the same time. We're all on the same page. We all know exactly what each other are doing to hopefully have the best outcome for the patient. So yeah,
Awesome.
it's worked out. It's worked out very well.
Great,
Good,
good for us,
good.
good for Streator, good
Yes,
for you
yes,
guys.
good, yes, good
Yeah.
for Streator.
Yeah,
That's-
great for
So what we
Streator.
found out is that like I said, call volumes have obviously exploded since we started, and call volumes have maybe been a little more than what we were anticipating, but we've been able to handle it just fine.
Now, does our ambulance service here transport people to Peoria or Pontiac or Bloomington if
So
they need to go to
there-
hospital, since we don't have one?
That's a really good question. A lot of people ask that when we get on the scene. So if it's a normal event, all of our transports go here to OSF Streator. If it's a major thing like someone's giving birth or a major trauma, we will probably take them either to Ottawa or Pontiac. Doesn't happen very often. There's been a few, but most everything that we transport is going to go here to Streator, and then they're transport out of Streator to wherever they need to go, to Peoria or Ottawa or Pontiac.
So our ambulance service transports to
Yes,
Center for Health.
yes.
Then that person is evaluated and they decide whether they're gonna go to, but then our service does not transport
No.
them further.
That's another transport service that
different
transports.
service.
Oh,
So all we do
okay.
is, all we do is 911 service,
Okay.
which means that we
Okay.
do all emergency medical. So, somebody calls 911 in town, we get there, take care of them, quickly, and get them to the Center for Health, Streator. At that point, they get, evaluated, triaged, and then they go wherever they need to. They're from another company.
And how many ambulances do we have?
We always have 2, ready to go.
Okay.
With the doors open.
So,
Okay.
Just
there you
amazing.
go.
That is-
With the
That
doors
amazes me.
open, we
That's
actually
just so
we actually
cool.
have 3 ambulances. We've got but two are always ready to go. So the third one is just more of a backup, that type of thing. So yeah,
This is so interesting.
It's very
Yeah, there's a
interesting.
lot.
there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot other than this firefighting stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I walked into the door that I had never walked into before, and there's a beautiful, beautiful living room in there. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I'm just kind of in the back of my head like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Gosh.
What is
It's better
going
than
on
my
here,
house.
right?
God, this is nice. This
Yeah.
is like really nice. And then I'm thinking, he tells me, well, they work 24 hours a day. Well, no wonder they need a place that looks nice and is nice and comfortable like that.
So yeah, we work 24 hours a day, and that a lot of people it's a very unique work shift is what it is. Not a whole lot of people work 24 hours at a time.
No.
So we work 24, and then if we don't work overtime, we're off for 48, and then we come back on the third day.
It's always like that.
It's always
So
like
it's
that.
always that rotation,
It's
you work
always that
24,
rotation.
48 off, come back.
Now,
for
while you're here,
24.
like you said, you're doing your overtime, so you're going to be here till Wednesday. You
I'm
said
gonna be
at
here till Wednesday morning at 8
at
o'clock.
8 a.m.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I'm sure you have family and friends or kids or whatever. Are
Right.
they allowed to come here and
They
see
could
you?
they could come visit. Yeah, absolutely.
I
as
think
long as
that's, I just think that's great.
as long as it doesn't
Right,
affect operations. Or
They're not the
anything like that.
priority
So,
here.
right,
They're
right.
not, this
When
is
we're-
not
when-
their house.
When we're here, our job is to help the citizens out. So, but I told my wife when, for 1 out of 3 days she's a single parent. So that's
Wow,
and that's the truth.
That's
I mean,
one way to
because,
look at it. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Because I'm just not there for
Right.
one out of 3 days, or in the event of
But you're out
overtime,
here
even
being
more.
a Streator hero.
No, well,
Yes,
just here,
sir.
Yeah.
we're just here doing our job. That's
Well,
it.
but
So.
you're-
So, and speaking, when we were talking
Not a lot
about
of
the
people can do
facility,
it.
so, we were talking earlier, and, Brian said that there's
14,000 square feet.
14,000 square feet in this building, which
Yes.
houses the 3 ambulances?
Yeah, our building, we moved in here in 2005. we went from the old fire station, which was 1,400 square feet, and
Which you can see from here.
You can
I
see
can
you
look
got
out
it
right
right
there.
across the
So-
Still, and we were talking earlier, the cement, concrete header is still there.
still
that
says fire station number 2.
Right.
So
And the doors are still
Where was
there, are
fire
they
station
not?
number 1?
fire station number 1 was on Oak Street, just right near where the right behind Teak's.
Where the old Times Press was?
Yeah, that was where the original fire station
that right?
We've got some pictures we can show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Now,
that's
see, I didn't even know we had
So
2.
yeah, so that was 1. That's 2. That was 2, and then some people call this station 3.
Oh, okay.
We call it headquarters. So
So the old, the
For a while
station
you
number 2.
for a while you call it home.
well, there you go. We also call it home. Yeah.
So station number 2, which is on
Across
Main
the
Street here,
Yeah.
right by Joe's Station House Pizza.
Yes. There you go.
So, that one was 1,400 square feet as compared to the
This is
14,000.
a little over 14,000 square
Right.
feet.
And you had the same number of firefighters?
No, well, we have the same number of firefighters, but now with the addition of the ambulance, we've got
Okay.
basically double the size of the department, the daily roster.
Right.
So,
And in that building, everybody was sleeping upstairs,
yep,
so you had the old fire pole.
everybody,
Did you think that was fun your first time?
I did. I mean, if anybody says that it wasn't, then they're
They're
lying.
lying.
So, yes,
To slide down the pole,
was
I think
a-
that's
I'd
everybody.
love to try it.
Right,
Yeah.
you know what I think every little kid wants to be.
Absolutely.
You know,
Like me, I
and
want to
then
be
you
in the
grow
fire
up,
truck.
But you still never got to do it, right? So you still want to go slide
Right.
down the pole.
Well, like I
It's
said, it's the
fun.
first time in my life I've been in a fire truck. You see all these little kids when you guys go out to the carnival and things at 4th of July,
Yeah.
and they're
Right.
all in there and they're
Right.
having a ball.
well,
But just for perspective, right, you're 10
That's
times the
unreal.
size, and in the old building, there was a front exit and a rear exit because the vehicles were parked tandem.
yeah.
So you
yeah,
couldn't like run somebody over to get out onto Main Street, you had to go out the back.
Right,
There was
right.
right?
Yeah.
And here we have how many?
We've got 6 bays in the front, we've got 2 in the back, we've got
Wow, I
lots
just
of
had no idea it was that big.
lots of room. So
Yeah,
when we moved in here 17 years ago, we never thought we'd fill the place up, and certainly we have now. So yeah, without a doubt. So it's been great. When we designed this place in 2004, 2005, they had luckily we had a lot of forward thinkers because we didn't, like for example, the 2 ambulance bays for a long time we didn't. I mean, they were used, but they weren't used for ambulances.
right.
But we thought to put them in 17 years ago because we anticipated this happening. Same thing with bunk rooms. We have a bunk room on our residential side, and we put in 10 bunks thinking that this might be something that we would need someday. And,
Now,
last,
does everybody have their own room?
everybody's got their own room each day. So it's, we can go by there and I can show you that. Everybody has a locker, a desk, and a twin bed to sleep at night if we don't have any calls going on. So, yeah.
Now, all right, now you're here and it's all quiet. Now, how would we know if something was going on? Like if we're sitting here, would we know something's happening if,
Yes.
is there
We have a very loud paging system in the building, so.
Yeah, they wouldn't let me put the siren on.
What a surprise.
Yeah, it's really loud, so it's loud on the street, so you can imagine how
Yeah,
loud
right.
it is in
Right,
the garage. so-
right.
Blow your eardrums
Yeah.
out, what are you, nuts?
So we have a paging
Siren.
system throughout the station. We're dispatched from Vermilion Valley Dispatch over in Pontiac.
Right,
They dispatch us to all calls. You'll hear a loud tone, and then they'll say Streator Fire and Streator EMS. You're needed at a certain address, and they'll tell us exactly what's going on.
speaking of addresses, now I guess since you're pursuing a fire, you would have a visual that you know where you're going.
Right.
But, addresses are so not visible.
They are not-
right?
you're right.
What if it's something where it's not blowing out smoke
Right,
out of the
right.
ceiling or the roof or the windows, and it's just an interior
Right.
circumstance?
50 years ago, when all they did was fight fires, it was easy because you drove to the smoke, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, nowadays it's not because we're doing EMS, we're doing all sorts of other things. So having numbers in the front of your house is a major thing for us. A lot of times we'll have a really good general idea of what area we need to be in by the address, by the number of the house and that type of thing. But unless we have numbers in the front, we don't know exactly. So it does delay a little bit if you don't have numbers on the front of your house.
For the general public, turn on your porch light.
Porch light helps.
Turn on your porch light and have your addresses visible so that people can see. And the reason, part of the reason I bring this up is that I had to go pick someone up the other day. It was dark.
Right.
There was no porch light on at the house, and there were no addresses, not only on the house I was looking for, but on the houses surrounding. So I couldn't
Right.
even guesstimate
Right.
and say, oh, this is, 212, so that must be 210 where I'm bowling right next door.
That's generally how we do it. Is
Yeah.
if your house doesn't have one on it, then we generally look at your neighbors, and then we're able to figure it out. But obviously, if you have a row of houses that don't have it, we're
Nobody
knocking on doors to
had
try to
it.
And
find it.
it was-
So-
and how
Horrible.
something so simple
Right.
could save your life.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know,
So
I
I
could save your
cannot
life.
stress it enough.
If you have a medical emergency or something, it's gonna take us a little bit of time to find your home if you don't have an address.
Yeah.
Put
right.
those numbers and put your porch light
There you go.
on.
And
Really good idea.
we had an active neighborhood watch, and we used to always say, turn on your porch light, turn on your porch,
Mhm.
turn on your
Right.
porch light. But in addition, where's your address? I feel
Put your
sorry
numbers
for
up.
pizza delivery drivers. How do you find your
Right.
address?
How do they know
Or
anything?
the police,
The
you have a domestic
The biggest thing is the
event.
police too. Is the
Yeah.
police are always responding to homes where obviously something
Right.
may not be visible.
Right,
So,
domestic battery
yeah.
or
Sure,
burglaries or break-ins, and turn on your porch light, get an address.
We try to
sign.
educate people to do
Yeah.
that, so I appreciate you bringing that up. So,
Yeah,
yes.
it's just so important.
Yes.
And especially in the wintertime, when it's dark early at
Mhm.
4:30, in the summertime it's a little bit,
Little
but
bit
even
different,
then, you
yeah.
still can't find the house.
Yeah,
Get an
that's-
address
We
sign.
do have pretty big floodlights on the side of the trucks to help us illuminate, but porch lights help also.
You guys had some visitors this past week, didn't you? Last week, didn't you have
We
some
did. We had,
some major visitors?
We had a U.S. Congressman here,
Oh.
Darren LaHood,
Mr.
stop by.
LaHood, yeah.
Um,
Yeah. What
so-
was the occasion? Just
So how that developed was we're always pursuing grants to try to
okay.
upgrade equipment and that type of thing. That grants are such a big thing because it keeps the burden off of the city,
Sure.
off the taxpayers,
Mm-hmm.
and anytime you can get free money from FEMA or
Right.
the federal government, it helps a bunch. In the past several years, we've gotten probably $350,000 or $400,000 in grants for stuff like our air packs, stuff that needs to be changed every once in a while, just to make sure everything's working properly. So we just recently found out we got a grant for new radios. So our radios that we use now are, they're getting pretty old. They're at least 20 years old. And so now we just got a grant for over $150,000 from FEMA for new radios.
Wonderful,
So-
yes, yes.
So as we apply for our grants, we always ask for the support of our local congressmen, state legislators, our city council. We always ask for their support letters, and so we contacted Mr. LaHood about getting a support letter for another grant that we're writing now for a new truck, and he said, I'd be glad to support it. How about I stop by and see what's going
Oh,
on?
how
So-
wonderful.
So it was a really nice visit. He was here for quite a while, asked a lot of really good questions. Chief Bird was able to walk him around, just tell him about the different types of problems that we encounter, that type of thing. So
Does
it
the
was
chief
good.
go out on like fire calls?
So
if
if
you
it's a fire,
If it's a big one?
yes. If it's a big fire, he's the commander,
Sure,
the
sure.
incident commander.
Going back, you said you were trying to get a grant for your truck. Your trucks look brand new. They're
I was just
beautiful.
gonna ask, what is
Yes.
the life expectancy on a truck?
And then you said the one was a 1989.
It is, yeah.
Wow.
So that's actually the one we're trying to replace. So
Oh, sure,
Uh,
yeah.
the useful life of a fire truck is considered to be 30 years. So
Oh.
Okay.
so 89, we're talking 34 years. We're trying to find a creative way to replace it. We're trying to create a creative way to replace a couple trucks at one time. So
Well, I want to know what kind of
Vintage
wax
plate,
you
that's
use.
an antique.
it
now.
is an
It's
antique.
vintage
It actually looks
vehicle.
it actually looks really nice because we know the trucks have to last a long time.
I want to know
they're
what kind of wax
expensive.
you guys use.
I won't tell you how expensive they are. They're expensive,
Oh,
and so
I'm
we know
sure.
we have to take care of them. They have to last us for a long time. When you're on a fire scene, your truck is essentially your lifeline. So
Mm-hmm.
we treat them like
Like
there are
babies,
babies
like
for real.
babies, yeah.
So every morning they get run and checked and make sure everything's in the right spots, and then once a week they're gone through with a fine tooth comb to make sure that everything's operational. You know, the engine's running fine and the pump's running fine and everything is running just the way it needs to be. So,
You know, and I think it was Ed earlier we saw, and he said that they're the firemen, how do you say that?
yeah, so we come in, we take care, first thing we take care of is the firefighter, which means that we get all of our gear out so we're ready to respond. After the firefighter, we usually move on to the trucks, fire trucks. We run them, make sure that they're operational, make sure they're working just fine. And then after that, we worry about the fire station, and that's when we're doing our chores. We're making sure the place is cleaned up.
Do you have chore assignments?
So daily we have chore assignments. So we have.
Oh, so you could have a different chore every day then?
You could, yeah.
Oh,
So Monday is usually exterior, and so we're usually out walking the yard, cleaning up garbage or trimming bushes, whatever we need to do. Tuesdays, you know, obviously different things. Tuesdays we're on this side, cleaning this side up, making sure it's spick and span and ready to go. And so every day we have a different thing when we come in. We have our, you know, certain chores that we need to do to make sure that we're.
Now, how do you know who's gonna
Taking
cook?
care of the
How do you know
place.
who's gonna cook tonight?
That's usually decided at the table in the morning. So
Oh, okay.
every morning we'll come in at 8 o'clock and we'll talk about what we have to do for the day.
And some people cook and some people shop.
Some people cook and some people shouldn't cook.
You never say, no, you are not cooking, we are not.
So those people know who they are.
Okay.
So,
I run into them at the grocery store.
I think it's a fireman stereotype that they're all great cooks, because
Yeah.
you see it in movies,
Right,
on
right.
TV, right, the guy, fireman's cooking,
Right,
and
right.
like everybody's a great cook, but I was
it's
just
not
thinking,
exactly the case.
Yeah,
So-
you say, nah,
So,
thanks, but no thanks.
but we all have, you know, we all have jobs that we do, and so people know who the cooks are. If somebody has a recommendation they want to eat something that day, they'll bring it up and
Are you a cook?
sit down. I do cook a lot,
Okay.
so yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
A lot.
A lot, there you go.
Too much, but. But
Well, you haven't been told you can't cook yet, so you
no,
must
that's
be doing
good.
something.
They keep
right?
asking me to do it, so.
You're
yeah.
not at Kroger, I don't see you at Kroger.
So yeah, I'm there once in a while, but I'm usually the cook. So
Yeah, well, when you retire, I got a place.
Oh, there you go.
There you go, absolutely.
Oh, there you go.
So, and how
Think
long have
about
you
that.
been a firefighter?
I had my 20th year anniversary in last July.
Wow, congratulations.
So yeah, so it's been 20 years. So.
Have you ever been
Always
hurt in the
here.
line of duty?
Majorly, no.
No.
Not. I've been fortunate. So it's a job that comes with injury risk.
And I'm
obviously.
gonna talk about some of that.
Mhm.
Do you guys, I mean, and I hate to bring this up, but it's the United States with all the school shootings and the
Right.
mass shootings and things like that.
Mhm.
Do you guys have like, I get, in nursing we call it a disaster plan.
So
Now, do you guys rehearse that? Do you have,
we do have a. We do.
how do you rehearse for a shooting? I mean,
Right,
you know.
It's very hard to do. It's very hard to do. I think it was 4 years ago. We did a plan with the Streator Police and
Okay.
EMS and everything. There's a plan in place.
And it's a citywide plan,
It's
I
a
mean, it's a
citywide
citywide
plan,
plan then,
so,
okay. Well, that's good to know, that's good to know.
We were able
Keeping us
to.
safe.
We were able to have a half day with high school employees, and so we were able to go through the
okay.
building and talk about things. We were able to, you know, simulate a shooting. Unfortunately,
Ooh,
pretty
ooh.
unfortunate we have to do it, but
It
you
gives
know,
me
we
goosebumps, it gives me
Or a bomb
goosebumps,
threat.
or a bomb threat.
So-
Now, that back in the 70s when I was in high school, that was the big thing, was bomb threats.
Yeah.
In the
And
70s.
yeah, so you know we have plans for that stuff, and it's
Oh, that
it's
gives me
stuff,
the
that stuff has
creeps.
been thought about, and you know hopefully we never have to use
Exactly.
Yeah.
it. All the
Exactly.
time
God
that we
willing.
put in planning this stuff, hopefully it's never used.
But you know, you always see them on TV,
Yes.
we never thought it would happen
Right,
here, we
right.
never
Well,
saw,
it's
to be
it's
prepared.
a sad statement that we have to say this is the United States and this is
Exactly.
what happened.
Right.
Exactly, it is a very sad statement,
Yeah.
but it's good to know that we have people out here that are brave enough to
Right.
help us through it.
So, yeah,
And there's a plan,
there's a
that's
plan.
always good to know.
And I
that
said,
there's
I
a
always
plan.
say, I told this story, after the tornado, the first person I saw looking through my window was Joe Scarberry.
Mhm.
And I just busted out bawling because I thought we were all gonna die,
Right.
you know, and, you know, the police, the fire, they were there.
Right, well, and this
there's-
is the Midwest, natural disasters like
Yeah,
tornadoes,
tornadoes,
right?
yeah,
To
storms.
be prepared for those
Blizzards,
things.
you know, we
Yeah.
got lucky we didn't get the blizzard.
Right,
Yeah,
Right.
we're prepared for a lot of things. Hopefully, we never have to use any of that stuff, but
Very-
we're prepared. So,
yeah, it's really, really interesting. I
Now-
hope that,
Oh, go
you
ahead.
know,
I'm sorry.
people watch this episode of our Out and About with Toni and Diane, and you'll see Diane, I'm sure, in the fire truck, with the hat on. We should try and time you to put those clothes on.
Oh, boy.
But, you know, it's really, it's eye-opening to be here and talk with you and
It
hear
is.
about all the things that our firefighters do for us in the fire department.
And like you said, it's not just hosing putting water on a fire.
Right.
This is a community in here.
Right.
This is like
Over
a
the-
family community.
Over the years, we've kind of become a catch-all type organization where if there was something that the community needed, the fire department would do it. So it started several years ago with like technical rescue, rope rescue stuff. Then we moved to hazmat, hazardous materials, and then now it's EMS. You know, so it just kind of seems like as it goes along, and that's what we're here to do. We're firefighters, but we're mostly problem solvers, is what we do. So.
Well, in addition, though, I think I've seen our firefighters do fun things with the community too. I think it was I lived near St. Michael's School, and it was a couple of years ago. It was super hot, and the firefighters were there in the play area with the kids, hosing them down.
Oh,
I think.
really?
Yeah.
Well, I missed that.
And then when there's celebrations in the area in the community, you'll see them at the Streator City Park.
And that fill the boot, wasn't there a fill the
Usually
boot?
do
or
Right.
fill the
something?
boot.
But
So-
Fourth of July Committee,
Right.
we used to do our National Night Out with Neighborhood Watch, and there was
Right.
the smokehouse came out there, the firefighters came out, kids got to sit in the cars,
Right.
sit in the truck.
There's-
So they're involved in fun things for our community too, and being actively
Right.
involved for some of the lighter side of firefighting.
Yeah, there's
and
been a-
educational.
Absolutely, the education is a big part. There's been a huge push in the last 5 or 10 years for community risk reduction, which means getting out in the public. Part of that is installing smoke alarms in buildings, and
Right, yeah, they
we've
did that
in the
too.
last 5 years we've installed about we just crossed 3,300 smoke alarms. So
Really?
we've installed 3,300 smoke alarms thanks to the Red Cross. We get to the schools, we talk to the kids about fire safety. You don't play with matches and lighters, and how to call 911 and that type of thing. There's a big, huge push in the fire service to get out in front of these problems and educate children and educate people so that we don't have to have unfortunate events happen. So
Okay, like in nursing, we have continuing education. You have to take so many classes every so often.
Right.
Now, do you guys have that
We do.
kind of thing too?
So-
Are you guys are firefighters licensed like a nurse is, or?
we are not licensed.
Okay.
We have credentials. So
Okay.
here in Streator, we have certain things that you're required to have to maintain. So we have a firefighter basic and firefighter advanced. Several of us are inspectors, which means we can go out to buildings and inspect
Okay.
buildings for fire code stuff. We have investigators, we have hazardous materials people, technical rescue people. We have all this stuff that does require continuing education. So we're always, so we talk about firefighter, then fire truck, and then firehouse, and usually the afternoon is based on back to firefighter, where you're working on training or you're doing some kind of way to keep your continuing education going. So yeah.
Well, and I would think technology advances all the time also, so as your
Yes.
methods
Yeah.
of communication
So
and the equipment that you
Right.
use is upgraded, you have to continuously be on top of it, right? You can't be
Right.
using archaic
Well, like we were
systems.
talking before about the noon whistle. We used to have a
Right.
noon whistle
that
on
used
Wednesdays.
to be right up on top of the fire station.
And it would
Yeah.
go off at noon, and that
Right.
was the noon whistle. And then they also had a code. It was 2 long
Right.
horns, or whatever you want to call them, sirens,
Two long
for one
blasts,
kind of
yeah,
fire,
yeah.
and then 4 blasts for another kind of
Right.
fire, right? Something like that.
And before pagers and cell phones
Yeah.
and everything else, that was the method that firefighters were notified of a.
So
So
everybody in
public
town
work,
knew,
so-
everybody in town
Yeah.
knew there was a
Yeah.
fire, and they knew if it was
Wow.
a big
Yeah.
one or a little one.
Yeah, well, that's interesting.
I can remember when it
Now-
went out for Owens, when Owens had
Yeah.
their fire.
Nowadays we have cell phones and we have pagers and everything else. We're notified in several different ways now. So
And you said that the noon whistle was a test.
noon whistle on Wednesday was always a test to make sure that it worked, so,
Yeah, we just
Just to
thought
keep
it
it-
was just to tell us it was new.
Yeah, so,
So life before Wi-Fi.
there you go,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
it, right?
Before,
Right.
the World Wide
We're
Web.
really fortunate as far as training goes. We have a beautiful fire training facility now. I don't know if anybody's been down
I
there to
have
see
heard
that.
that because I know there's been firefighters from Bourbonnais who've come here
Yes, we've
to
had
train.
firefighters from all around the state come to Streator. If you go down at the end of 10th Street, you can see it. We've got
The end of 10th Street.
yeah, the end of 10th Street down by Rhodes Auto.
Mhm.
Jim Rhodes was
Okay.
donated the city 9 acres of land.
Oh, wow.
And it's a beautiful complex. Lots of people around us are jealous because we have a beautiful facility. And so we have a 4-story building that we can burn in, so we can simulate smoke and simulate heat. We've got a beautiful
That would
classroom.
be interesting.
We got a beautiful classroom that the Harrison family donated money for. It's
How long has this been going on?
I would say right around probably 2020, 2019, 2020.
Oh, okay, I thought he was
So-
gonna say 20 years.
No,
I'm
no,
like,
no, no.
oh.
No, it's
It's been about
really
2 or 3
recent.
years we've had it.
And
So
the facility is for new firefighters?
it could be for anything. So
Okay.
well, Chief Bird has been really out in front, and we've gotten lots of classes from the Illinois Fire Service Institute. Chief Bird kind of identified that there's not really a fire training facility in the area. So
Wow.
this is something that maybe we could do, and so luckily we were able to do it. We've got contracts with the Illinois Fire Service Institute in Champaign, and they come up here and they deliver classes.
Now, is that
That's
revenue
incredible.
generating for the fire department as well?
Well, and we also rent it out to departments around so that if they wanna come in and do.
Oh, so
training.
other departments can
departments
rent it
can come
out,
in and use it.
basically. Oh, my
We've
goodness.
had Pontiac here,
Now,
we've
how come that's
had,
been so quiet?
so,
I've talked to people because I knew it was there because
Right.
of Tony,
right,
but people had no idea that was even.
it's out of the way, I guess, is probably the best
Yeah,
way
it's
to
off the
put it.
beaten path.
You don't-
Right,
you don't
it's
want it in
not
the middle of
there,
your
but you
town
have to
Well,
go.
that's
because
true. Well,
you got
that's true.
some-
But, but just even the hype of it,
Yeah,
though. I mean,
yeah. Yeah, absolutely, I mean,
You gotta be able to put your pants on
and we
first.
can talk to the chief and we'll see if we can't find you some gear and maybe see, so you can see what it's like, but,
That would
yeah,
be
so just
awesome.
last,
that would be fun.
Yeah, that would
You'd
be
like to
really
do that?
interesting.
That would
I would
be.
like to do that.
out and about, or how about in the smoke with Debbie? There you go. I don't know. We'll see what we can do.
We're out and about in the
So
smoke.
there you go. So just last weekend we started a new. So the basic operations firefighter is through the AFSI in Champaign, and we had 50 brand new recruits in town for a weekend. So they just started the first weekend, and they go every other weekend for 2 or 3 months, and so they'll be.
Now,
here.
is this considered like one of your continuing education things?
Not for us? This is basic stuff. So this
Oh,
This
okay.
is for the
This
new
is for
fire.
brand new
For
people
brand new
who are
people.
brand new to firefighting.
okay. Wow.
And so they come here, they get all of their training they need, and then they're able to, to be a basic firefighter in the end. They have a graduation and everything, so.
And it's interesting because I met, I think there's 4 from Bourbonnais who are here,
Mhm.
and I met them, and 3 were women. With 3 women
Oh,
training
yeah.
and 1 man.
Right,
And last year, I had the good fortune to meet them also, and there was 1 woman and 4 men. So
Gotcha.
Oh.
Gotcha.
from Bourbonnais, so it's kind of interesting how
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
switch this
Yeah,
year,
yeah.
which kind of surprised me. I was really surprised to see 3 women show up, but
Right.
yeah. And
Wow.
one of the girls is little,
Yeah,
tiny,
yeah.
and I thought, oh my God, how's she gonna carry? When you were talking about 50 pounds, I'm like, that's half her body weight.
I couldn't even lift it. I couldn't even lift that thing
Right,
when you
I mean,
gave it
she's
to
a
me.
small,
Right.
and I thought, how are you gonna
well,
carry?
like I said, with training and everything else, that's.
Are there minimum
becomes
weight
your-
requirements?
There are not, no. If you can do the
Or
job, you can do the
maximum,
job.
right?
If you can do the job, you can do the job,
Wow.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I wouldn't, I know I couldn't.
Is there an
carry 50
agility
pounds
test?
on my-
There's an agility test, so you have to, like I said earlier, to get on the list, you have to pass an agility
Right,
test.
right, okay.
So that
Okay.
means you have to be
Yeah.
able to lift
Just
so
to get on the
much,
list,
just
you
to
have
get
to,
on the
just
list.
to get on the list, all right, wow.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot more to this than just,
I know, I don't think.
We'll
we
have to
can-
schedule another visit.
Right, we'll have to do this
That
again,
sounds
yeah,
good.
because there's a lot,
this is.
there's a lot.
So all we've talked about today is the conference room, and we can show you the entire rest of the place, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. That's
Yeah.
what- Is there anything else that you wanna tell us that we didn't ask, that you would like the city of Streator?
A lot
and
of
everybody to know?
questions,
to
a
know.
lot of questions, and they've all been great. I just think everybody needs to understand that, we do our best every day here to always be ready for your emergency and always be, you know, ready to respond in a quick manner and get there in a quick manner. We always try to be professional, and we always, you know, we always make sure that, that everyone's handled in the right way. Everybody here, we talk about when they start, and, you know, we're here for the citizens, we're not here for anything else. We're not here to, you know, we're not here to, like you called us heroes, we're not here to be heroes. You know, we're just here to do
But
our
you
job.
are.
We're just here to do our jobs and to make sure that everybody in the community's safe, so, that's what we're all
We're lucky,
about.
we're lucky
So,
to have you.
Yeah, we are. And,
Very lucky.
and, you know, we gotta give a little bit of a pat on the back to the families of these firefighters.
Oh,
Like
exactly.
Brian said, you're a single
Right.
parent
Yeah,
while your spouse is at their job for 24 hours.
And I can't imagine my heart racing when I hear that siren
Yeah,
going off or
right.
whatever, you know, oh my gosh, my
Right.
husband's working
And
today.
ambulances, when
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ambulance comes down the street, I don't know how many people don't know this anymore, but when you hear the ambulance behind you, you're supposed to pull over, right?
pull
And-
over, move to the right, please,
Right, you're
yes.
supposed to pull over and let the ambulance go.
Yeah,
And so often, I think people, I don't know if it's just kind of lost, and people don't know that anymore, like you're not supposed to pass on the right, do they know that you're not,
Right.
that you're supposed to move out of the way for the ambulance? I think a lot of times, and especially, I think with, again, technology, earbuds,
right,
on the phone.
Loud music.
Right, loud music, you don't even hear it, and if you're not paying attention, you don't see the lights on.
Right.
But that is so critical, and I think until you have the family member and you're in that ambulance with someone who is on their way in a life-threatening situation, and you see the guy in front of you, like, move over,
Yeah.
move over.
Right,
Or you're
right.
blasting through red lights, I mean, yikes.
Yeah.
Fire trucks racing through
Yeah.
red
Yeah.
lights, you have to, right?
well,
So-
we generally try not to, but, yeah.
Right, but I mean, if you're going
Right,
to a fire, you don't
right.
stop for the red light,
Well,
but
we
listening.
slow down at least to make sure there's nobody coming,
Right,
so.
well, yeah, I
The
don't
la-
wanna say, I'm not trying to give the impression
The
that
last-
they're reckless.
The last thing we need is an
Right.
accident, so,
Right,
yeah.
so not that they're reckless, but I think we
Yeah.
as the people who are sharing the road with emergency
I think it's-
responders, really need to focus on listening for those
That's a very
sounds.
important message, listen for the sounds and watch
Right.
for the lights, so,
Right.
yeah, absolutely, that helps us out tremendously.
And we're talking about impeding or emergency response vehicles. So
Right.
when you pull up to a fire, right?
Right.
And generally there's a fire hydrant within so many
Yeah.
feet of wherever you are. And if there's a vehicle parked in front of that fire hydrant, which we all know we're not supposed to do, and yet,
People do it.
I'm just gonna run in and get a coffee, I'm gonna
It
park in
happens.
front of the
It
fire.
happens.
You know, it
Yeah.
happens, right? So what is the fire department's response? Let's say for instance, that you're parked in front of the hydrant, you're in
Right.
there getting your coffee, fire breaks out, fire truck shows up, they're gonna break your windows to get through
Well,
your.
Obviously, everybody's seen those pictures, you know, and I can promise that wasn't in Streeters, that was,
Well, that's
that was
good.
probably some firefighter having a bad day, is probably what it was, so generally,
How you do it in front of the fire hydrant?
Yeah.
generally, we're still able to get a hose connected to the hydrant. We'll generally just go around the car. You know, obviously there are some circumstances possibly where we'd have to do something like that, but that's not our major goal if you park in front of a fire hydrant. to-
Okay.
You
to
call
break
the
your
police
windows
then
out.
and say, hey, can
We
you
would,
ticket
yeah,
this guy?
we would call the police and probably have them towed out of the way if we needed them to, so.
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
I think they should.
Oh,
get a
the fire,
ticket.
no, the fire hydrants, right?
Fire hydrants, yeah.
Alright, how do you know they're working all the time? How often do you check them?
Luckily, we have a really good water company in town.
Okay.
So Illinois American Water takes care of all the water service in town, so
Oh, they check the fire, they check the
check
hydrant?
the fire hydrants.
Oh,
they check them routinely, at least once a year. They're flushed and
Okay.
to make sure they're still working.
What is the spacing for fire hydrants?
We generally try to be less than 500 feet from any spot in town, so it's not all the time, not everywhere, but that's the general goal.
I wonder how many fire hydrants we
500
have.
feet or less. We have a lot of fire hydrants in town. I
Yeah,
mean, you
I'd
can
say for
imagine.
500 feet, you're not have a lot, right?
I don't have an exact number, but I bet it's over 1,000. So yeah,
Yikes.
wow.
and they maintain them all and make
They
sure that
used to
they're
be
working.
painted red, now that some of them are orange.
So
Was
that's
there a sale on orange paint or something? I was wondering.
that was one of the questions when I started was what's going on with the orange hydrants? It's actually they consider orange to be a lot more high vis than red than
Oh.
dark red. So dark red at nighttime is hard to see. You
Oh,
can
I
imagine.
Oh,
Yeah.
that
So
makes sense.
orange-
Well, then they should paint them so that they glow in the dark.
Well, You have to bring that up to Illinois
That's
American
a good
Water.
idea,
So-
yeah. No, I just thought maybe there was a sale on orange. and-
we have,
What a deal, it's close to red, let's buy it.
Yeah.
Right. Luckily, we have, we talk about technology and that type of thing. Luckily, we have mapping software where when we get in the truck, we're able to see an exact map of where all the hydrants are in town. So on the way to a call, we can see.
You know where, yeah.
There's
Yeah.
or just by driving around.
Uh-huh.
And me, I've been, fortunate to live here my whole life, and you kind of, that's my job to know where the hydrants are.
You know where they're at, yeah.
So, speaking of having mapping systems and
Mm-hmm.
being dependent upon the technology, does your Wi-Fi ever go out? And then what happens? You have a backup plan?
We have Wi-Fi, we have cellular service, and we do have backup plans all the time. So we do street training every month to make sure that employees know exactly where they're going, that type of thing. But we do have redundancies in case our CAD software goes out or anything like that.
Right.
So we're able to communicate with our dispatch on computers. Technology has helped us out tremendously. So just clicking a couple buttons on an iPad will get you a map directly to the place you need to
Where you're
go.
going.
So that helps out. That helps out a lot. So
You can always ask Siri.
there we go. You can always ask Siri as well. There you go.
Okay.
That's one of those
So-
redundancies.
Safe haven, is that what you call it?
Oh, right,
This
that's
is a
important.
baby
Safe
safe place. If anybody,
So what do you do? I mean,
so
somebody has a baby or a kid or whatever.
someone has a child that they, instead of not taking care of the child in the right way, they're able to come here, knock on the door, and we have procedures and plans in case someone wants to drop a baby off.
No
So,
questions
no
asked?
questions asked.
And that's 24 hours a day.
24 hours a day. We're here 24/7. So yeah.
So they can come at midnight and
Yes.
someone will answer the door?
Absolutely,
Is there a
absolutely.
doorbell? Is there a
Yep.
phone?
We got a doorbell on both doors. So come here, ring the doorbell.
Has it ever happened?
It has not, thankfully.
Need to speak with someone.
Yeah.
No, we ask that they just speak with us and tell us what's going on and the situation, and then
But they don't have to give names or
That's
anything.
it. No.
Right.
Wow.
So that's good to know.
Yeah,
Good to
yeah.
know. And is this the only safe haven in Streator? Is this, I don't know where else can they?
I'm not really sure of that.
I don't know if
other
the Salvation
facilities-
Army is, I don't know if the
No, I
Salvation
was
Army is
thinking
or
maybe
not.
the
Yeah.
Center for
The
Health
emergency
might be-
program.
Maybe
Oh, the
Center for Health
emergency room,
probably
yeah.
is.
Or the police station? Is the police station?
Yeah,
The
I'm
police
not
station
sure.
isn't manned 24/7, so probably not. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
you're not guaranteed to have anyone there.
Oh, all
Okay,
right.
so if you find yourself in dire circumstances or need this is the place.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Good points, good thing to bring.
yeah, just for some reason it
Because
just popped in my
yeah.
head.
So we just want to say thank you for everybody who's watching. Take the time to enjoy and listen to this program. It's very informative, lots of good stuff. We're grateful to our Streator Fire Department for all that they do for us and for the beautiful facility they're in, and particularly Lieutenant Park for sharing and taking time to talk
Captain
with
of the
us.
day.
Yes.
I'm never
share-
gonna hear the end of that, by the way. So,
to share with us a lot of things that go on here that we're not
Yeah.
aware of as far as the general public is concerned, and we're grateful that you took the time to talk with us.
For sure.
Next time, thanks for joining us with Out and About with Toni and Diane.
all right.
So long.
This episode of Out and About with Toni and Diane is sponsored by Good Morning, Good Day Cafe, 417 East Main Street in Streator, Illinois.